All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Exposure Runs the podcast. Our guest today is the very definition of the culture of basketball in the Chicagoland area. There was a Mount Rushmore of high school coaches in Illinois. I would imagine that you and obviously your brother Nick would occupy 2 of the 4 spots. All right. Their father, may he rest in peace, Mr. McLover, Mac Irvin, is known as the godfather of basketball in the city of Chicago and probably in the state of Illinois, if I'm not mistaken. I'm an outsider, so forgive me for my ignorance. Started the organization named after your father, of course. A successful family, as you know, your brother Byron was first-round pick of the Blazers, now an NBA agent. Brother Lance, head coach of Chicago State. Brother Nick, special assistant coach to Bobby Hurley at Arizona State, following 12 seasons at Morgan Park. That's correct?
Yes, that's correct. Well, Nick now is a regular full-time assistant at Arizona State.
Okay, forgive me for that. Yeah. Mac Jr. is a girls' high school coach?
He runs the Mac Irvin Fire, the girls' side for the Mac Irvin Fire. We men's and boys. I mean, women and boys. So
okay.
He run the girls' side.
Okay. And then, of course, Miss Cindy, your sister, is a high-level administrator for CPS.
Yes.
And then something that I did not know is that your family, I should say, you are related to Coach Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
Cousins.
Yeah. Cousins, yeah.
All right, former coach of my hometown team, Philadelphia 76ers. I'm always going to throw my Philly shit in there all the time. All the time. And you began coaching at Kenwood in 2020.
Yeah.
All right. So those are some great accolades. So we would like to welcome Coach Mike Irvin to the show.
Man, thanks for having me. Appreciate being here, being able to talk basketball.
Definitely. And I definitely appreciate you being here. So I said 2 of the 4 spots of the Chicago Mount Rushmore would be you and your brother. Name all 4.
Mount Rushmore?
Yeah.
Name all 4.
Of who would be on the Mount Rushmore of Chicago's basketball coaches.
And we can only pick 2 more?
No, you could do 4.
Right.
You could do 4. This is your 4. This is your list.
Yeah. You got to go with Sonny Cox.
Okay.
Sonny Cox, King High School.
Okay.
For what he accomplished over there. I mean, he's, when you start talking about basketball, you in Chicagoland area, you got to mention him. You got to mention Bob Hambrick.
Okay.
You got to mention, it's a coach probably people don't realize that how successful he was Luther Bedford, over at Marshall. Very successful, He take them kids off the inner city to the west side, and what he did with them was amazing.
Okay.
He sent all them kids to college. So, you start mentioning him. Another coach is Don Pittman, a coach that me and my brothers played for. Very successful. He was over at South Shore for many years, produced a lot of players over there. And then he went over to Carver, and then that's when Carver had they run in the Red South when we was dominant for years, back when my little brother was coming up and me, where we was the number 1 team on the South Side for them years.
Okay.
Coach Pittman was there. So, you got to mention them in the Chicagoland area.
This is your list, so
yeah.
If you want to carve out a 5th and a 6th, go for it.
You got to mention them because I always I got to pay homage to the old school, So whatever I done, they paid the way. So if you notice, I started with them, So, but in this era, you got to go with Rob Smith. Rob Smith did a tremendous job over at Simeon.
Absolutely,
can't take away his championship as a championship. Man,
there's so many great coaches.
It's a lot of great coaches. Them the ones I could think of right offhand that made a difference.
Got you.
That made a difference in our era, in our time. I've been with AAU for the past 15 years, so covering high school. I know it's a lot of names I'm missing, but I will have to go with that, and can't forget what Mike Oliver has done over at Curie. Has done a great job.
Tremendous job.
Tremendous job,
Shout out to Coach Curie.
Yeah, he's
Mike Oliver, rather. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And we hope we're going to get him on the show soon, Coach.
Need to get him, and you need to get, You know, my guy over at Rich South, you got to get him.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Rich.
And he right around the corner.
Yeah,
he right around the corner from the crib.
Lou
so we got
Adamson,
Lou. We got Lou.
Lou done a great job.
We got Oliver. Okay, give me some more. I'll reach out. I'll reach out. I hope everybody got a person like Brother Smooth that can kind of
be smooth. Coach B Houston right here. I mean, he's on my West Side connect.
Okay.
You know, yeah, he covered the whole West Side for me. So
shout out to the brother.
Yeah, any coaches I'm missing on the West Side I could think of. You know,
he gonna tap you in the car like, you forgot to say coach this, you forgot to say coach that. Now I got to go over there and deal with this shit. Yeah. That's how that's gonna roll. You know you gonna get that, right? Damn, you know I'm from the West Side. They gonna get on me, and I hear that the West Side is supposed to be the best side. That's right. That's what they say out this motherfucker. They're like, all right, I'm just saying, like, you know he gonna get on you. Like, I can't believe you had me in this motherfucker. You ain't say coach X, Y, and Z. Yeah. All right, I'm just saying, we just gonna get that out the way. I know B gonna get on you, so all right, cool.
Yeah.
How competitive was the Irvin household with you and your brothers and even your sister growing up?
Oh, it's very competitive, very competitive. I mean, we play basketball all day, you know, and actually a lot of people don't know we was into two sports. We was into baseball and we was into basketball.
Okay.
That whole JRW, Jackie Robinson, Wesley, you know, that was something that our whole family was a part of, including my dad. You know, it started with that, you know, so Jackie Robinson West. So, I mean, we was baseball, basketball, competitive. Who can hit? Who can dribble? Who can shoot? Who got the best glove? So I mean, we was competitive with everything
all day.
We did
all day
long,
all day,
yeah,
all day. Did Mr. Mac, did he encourage that competition?
Yeah, he encouraged it. He encouraged it because I mean, you got to have competition because that's what's out here in the real world. You know, you got to compete no matter what you do. So he taught us at an early age to compete, but do it fairly. So, you know, he instilled that in us, and we knew how to compete at a high level, but doing it the right way. So I think that's where it started.
Who was most of the fights between when y'all was growing up? Where them fights coming at? And where did mom play the part? Like, y'all cut that shit out now. Who was most of the fights with?
Most of the fights, I mean, anything dealing with my brother Mac Jr., you know, because he was the middle, you know.
Okay.
He had the oldest ones who was saying they was better than him or whatever.
Right.
And you had me coming up, you know, I felt like I was better than Mac, you know. You know, even though he was better than Mac, probably was the best, you know.
Out of everybody?
Yeah, probably, overall talent. You know, Mac had the best overall talent.
Okay.
I think if this day and age was here, you know, and Mac come through this era,
he tears shit up.
It'll be totally different because you're talking about a guy that was 6'6" that can do it all. You know, play, you know, point, shoot, long range.
Okay.
You know, he actually went down to Williamsport, Pennsylvania for the Little League World Series.
Oh yeah.
And then he hit one of the farthest home runs down there. You know, had an unbelievable pitching record. You know, he was just the overall athlete that was, you know, that he was good. He was good.
Now, when you and your brothers were coming up and y'all was playing basketball in the backyard that eventually went to the playground, that eventually went to high school and to college, did you guys have a competitiveness where y'all wanted to be better, you know, at each individual stage? Like, oh, well, I scored 30. Oh, you scored 30. I'm going to go get 40. Oh, you scored 40. I'm going to go get... Did y'all have that growing up?
Yeah, we had that. I mean, you had the long range, the best scores, you know, Byron. You know, I mean, he set the tone early. He hit 50 points in a high school game without a three-point line, you know. So he set the tone early for the Irvin family.
Okay.
You know, he was an instant scorer, averaged probably 32, 33 a game back then. You know, he was one of the, you know, best scorers. And then, you know, you had Lance, who was a pure point guard.
Okay.
You know, Lance was probably, 6'1", can do it all. He had early if he didn't had him 2 knee surgeries in high school because he was considered one of the best at his position. You know, he was getting recruited by everybody across the country. You know, he had Arizona, Missouri. Everybody was recruiting Lance back then. And if he didn't hurt his knees early on, Lance had a chance, you know, to make serious money.
Okay.
And he was a pure point guard. So with Lance, it was about, he can get you, 17, 18 a game, but he can also get you, 12 assists. He was good at passing the basketball. Then you had me then you had Mac back as scoring again. Mac can, average 25 in high school. And then you had me who wanted to pass. I was more, a distributor where I can get 20 assists in a game, but I wanted to get, 10 to 15 with 20 assists.
Okay.
And then you had back to Nick who wanted to score, who had long, Nick broke every record in high school, probably averaged over 30 a game. He probably broke record after record, So we all had different stages. You had 3 scores, and then you had 2 pure point guards and me and Lance.
So y'all had a nice little smorgasbord in the Irvin household. How proud do you think Mr. Irvin was at times, just kind of sitting back in those stands watching his boys blossom into the players that you guys blossomed into, and then eventually the men that you have blossomed into?
Well, definitely proud, because back then, if you raise a household and everybody going and do something in life, and being from Chicago, the streets of Chicago,
eat you
especially
up.
the era we came from, where you had the drug dealers, you had the gangs, you had all in all. So for us to kind of steer away and be successful, whether it was playing a basketball or working, he was very proud. Before he passed, he was very proud of everything that we all done, because we made it out.
Yeah.
Even though we wasn't from the projects, but we was from a black neighborhood,
right.
So we made it out, and that was a big thing to him, and to be able to reach back, and he's seen that we can still help kids, something that he's done all his life. I know he was, proud to see that.
When you think about your dad a little bit, and thinking about the man that you've become, like, just kind of talk a little bit about how, as a man, how proud you are of the man that your father was, that he provided the example of manhood for you and your brothers and your sister.
Man, just looking back, and I'm, as a grown adult, looking back just to see that everything he was done and being able to accomplish, I look back now and say, wow, he went to work. He was at Xerox Corporation.
Yeah, I saw that.
So many years retired, was successful there, and then being able to reach back in the community and help with baseball and basketball, to start an AAU program, and to be able to help so many kids, that's a lot. I get tired every day doing from what I'm doing.
Right.
And he raised 6 of us, so
and no complaints.
No complaints. We never had no wants and needs. Never, we always kept clean, kept food on the table. Never, we was fine.
Y'all didn't want for nothing.
Nah, no wants.
When you think about the legacy that your father left, what does it mean, and how, matter of fact, how difficult was it after the dust settled of his passing for you guys to kind of continue on with the Mac Irvin organization?
Actually, it was difficult understanding he's not here no more.
Right.
That was the most difficult part.
Okay.
But as far as running everything and being able to go, he was, before he passed away, he gave me the program back in 2005 or something like that. And, so he was around while me and my brother was here running it.
Okay.
So any mistake we made back then, he could correct it.
Got you. Got you.
So he could correct all that. So he seen that, he molded us, and, it was an easy transition. So about time he was gone, it
was just a smooth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
and was it like, taking over a Fortune 500 company almost, in a sense? I mean,
well, the difficult part was when I first took over. The difficult part was, man, my father. I'm taking over. He touched the whole city,
the entire city, the state,
the entire city.
Don't take that from him.
The entire state.
Don't take that from him.
He touched the entire state.
Okay.
We had our connections downstate. Had Wayne McLean, who won 4 state championships at Peoria High School. We had all kind of connections throughout the whole state. And by me taking over, I hit a role like, how I'm gonna cover all this? How I'm gonna cover the whole state?
Right.
How I'm gonna get around? How I'm gonna, reach the west side, south side? How I'm gonna?
You worried about the city?
Yeah.
Right, but he
how I'm gonna get back downstate? What I'm gonna do?
Right.
So then, I sat down and I thought, and I went through that first season. I said, you know what? I'm gonna change the name. And, you know, I told my father, I'm going to change the name because I'm not covering enough ground.
Okay.
He said, what do you mean? I said, I'm going to change the name to your name. So now when people hear Mac Irvin Fire, now they know it's his program. Now I'm going to get phone calls. Instead of me doing all the calling, people going to call me, you know, when they hear Mac Irvin Fire because they knew who he was.
So this goes into the showmanship, the promoter, all of that stuff. All right, so before we go down that road, what was the – so now you actually schooling me because before I moved to Chicago in 2012. And with all due respect to the city and the negativity, positivity, I knew four things about this city. Gangs, Mac Irvin, y'all rivals. I know if we was in LA, I wouldn't be able to say. If I was sitting up here with the blood, I couldn't say the Crip. If I was sitting up with the Crip, I couldn't say the blood. So I won't say, but y'all rivals.
Yeah.
And fucking Italian beefs. All right, I knew those four things about this city. So your father's reach was East Coast, West Coast, down south.
He reached. Yeah, he reached.
Okay, so we want to make sure we give that all those.
He reached across the country. So
okay,
yeah, he did.
All right. So like when you was talking just now, just about changing the name, what was the name before Mac Irvin Fire?
Illinois Fire. It was Illinois Fire.
Did not know that.
Yeah, it was Illinois Fire.
Did not know that. See, y'all just got another school. We keep giving y'all fucking exclusives up here. Well, the Chicago people probably knew that, but my Philly people who watching, I know y'all punk asses ain't know that shit. All right, I got y'all. All right.
It was Illinois Fire. Yeah.
So you took your just kind of like your enthusiasm and your experience as a promoter and just kind of turned it into a business.
Yeah, turned it into a business.
Okay.
Yep, because, I mean, Illinois Fire, we was loaded. I mean, he had all the pros. He had Antoine Walker, had Nazi Muhammad. I mean, anybody, Tim Hardaway, singer, anybody come through, he had all those. But it was me. I couldn't touch everybody. I couldn't touch downstate. I couldn't touch everybody.
Right, because they didn't really know who you
were.
were.
So from my promoting world, I'm like, okay, the quick way to touch everybody, just change the name and get the promotion now. Promote now, Mac Irvin Fire, promote it.
So that was easy, like Staples. That was easy. All right.
That was easy.
Okay. Talk about the relationships with the people throughout your life that has helped you become the man, the coach, and the promoter of Mac Irvin.
Well, it's getting started when I went straight out into the promoting world.
Okay.
Went straight into the promoting world, and people helped me along. I had a guy named Dennis Smith who helped me along with the promoting, who introduced me to the promoting world. And then I had a guy by the name of John Monopoly take me to another level in the promoting world. And John Monopoly is a big time in this whole music game. And then through John Monopoly, I met Don C. You know, I became great friends with him because we started promoting together. Happy. So them three embraced me. So when they embraced me in the promoting world, I just took off. I took off. I mean, once they embraced me, John, man, I took off after that.
Okay.
Once, you know, because I already had the athletes. I had Antoine Walker,
which
was my best friend. And I had, every athlete to come out of Chicago.
It just got easy after that.
Yeah, it was easy.
Okay.
So they just showed me, John Monopoly showed me the lane to take. So started promoting. He showed me everything about the parties and all that.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm doing it with him and Don C. and Happy. And we take off. You know, we take off. They was already taking off, but I took off after that.
So how did the party scene, you know, begin to seep into the basketball world for you, and why?
Well, it was all one world because I lived in Boston with Antoine Walker. We was best friends.
Okay, when he played with the Celtics.
Yeah, when he played with the Celtics. Right. So with him, you know, I was up there, me, Paul Pierce, all the fellas, you know.
Playoff P.
Yeah, Playoff P.
No, that's actually Paul George. My bad.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So, you know, I had to do something to with my time.
Okay.
You know, so I'm always, you know,
so you're
entrepreneur, make some money.
Okay.
And then when I found out how to do these parties, I did one party, my first return was $5,000, and I ain't, you know, didn't know nothing about parties.
Don't take rocket scientists to do that.
I said, oh, okay.
So I can party, I can do my thing, I can do my thing, and I can get paid.
It opened the doors because I was already trying to figure it out because, you know, I was playing basketball. I went junior college, and even though I was one of the best players in junior college, I went down to Southern Idaho, and, you know, man, I was did great down there, but I hit academically. It was, you know, it was so much on me. It was, you know,
people don't realize.
Yeah. It was, and you had Prop 48 back then, the ACT test. So I go to junior college, and then at the junior college, I had a lot of offers on the table. My brother was a coach at DePaul, assistant coach up there. So, man, then they tell me, grade wise, I'm gonna need another 3-4 more classes. So it was a struggle. So I told my dad, I need a break for a minute, you know. I need a break. You know, my man Twan just got drafted, he's 19, you know. Twan just got drafted, you know.
You talking about school?
Right, yeah, school.
I ain't got time for this shit.
Lottery pick, and he like, Mike, come on, man. And I'm like, Twan, I gotta get back to school, man. He like, no, come on, you come with me, we'll figure it out.
Right.
So I like, maybe I could go to school in Boston,
right,
get it together.
Right.
Then I go play in Boston, you know, one of the schools up there. So that's how it all started, you know. So I had to figure it out.
Okay.
So when I got up there, I was like, maybe I go to Northeastern, Boston College somewhere, try to figure it out, get my grades, and then go to one of them spots.
That ain't happen.
Yeah.
That ain't happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So but I always told my mom and dad I go back to school.
Okay.
If I do whatever I do, decide I will, you know, get my college degree.
Okay.
And so, but I was up there at the time, and it was just, you know, it was, man, make a decision. So then when I did that first party, Twan making his millions, and I'm like, what's the quickest way for me to a meal? You know? So, I just started thinking, and I did that first party, and it was lights out after that.
And just kept rolling after that.
Oh, it was rolling after that.
And you said it was pretty easy to kind of marry the basketball world with.
That's what it is. You can't. You athletes and parties. That's what it is. If you had the athletes, the people are coming.
Regardless.
And back then, I had Allen Iverson, Steph Marbury, Antoine Walker, Penny Hardaway. I had Michael Jordan. I had everybody. So, you know, man, I did my birthday party. Michael Jordan came. He was, you know, MJ was a good. They called me Michael Jordan's a party. So back then, so when I did my birthday party, you know, for him to show up, that was big. But it all go hand in hand, because if you got the athletes, you got the people, you got the audience.
Okay,
so it was easy.
Okay, how do you feel about people thinking that, you know, proverbially speaking, you know, being the new guy on the block, but your family has so many years invested in this city, but they kind of consider you the new guy on the block? Talk about that a little bit.
If they consider me the new guy on the block, they don't know the block. You know what I mean? They don't know the block.
Okay.
They don't know the block.
You are the block.
Man, they don't know the block.
Okay.
You know, shit, we've been moving and grooving on the block for a lot of years. You know, my man right next to me, B. Houston, can, you know, he can tell you that, attest to that.
Okay.
Like we you know, so it ain't like, you know, I've been doing this forever, you know. Even when coaching the pro-am, we had the IIT pro-ams, you know, back then, and, you know, I won a championship at an early age. So everybody knows that the coaching, that I've been doing this for a long time, you know. So coming into the high school world, I mean, they want to consider me
the new guy,
but I'm not the new guy. No, I'm not the new guy. So, but it's okay if they think that.
Okay.
Now they know now.
I'm with you on that. All right. What goes into your national recruiting schedule planning? Like, how do you plan that out?
My national recruiting schedule planning. I'm coming in with a different mindset. I'm coming in with, we are national. When you look at Mac Irvin Fire, we're a national team. So when I'm thinking about it, I'm saying we're a national program. So when I got to Kenwood, I had to quickly turn that around to make players inside the school, get them better so they can be national players.
Okay.
Once you got national players, you don't have to chase. They can come to you. So what I'm doing with the schedule, I pick and choose who I want to play on the national scene. So say, for instance, we had Day-Day Ames, and, you know, I said, okay, our first year we get to travel. I said, well, if I'm going to go on the road, I'm going to make sure Day-Day had certain matchups. You know, so Case and Wallace was a matchup that came to me, and I said, I got to take it. This point guard on point guard, even though he's a year younger, this would be good for him, so he can see what's out here, you know, on the national scene. And then we had the number 1 pick. We played him, number 2 pick, No, the number 2 pick of this year's draft.
Damn, what's his name?
Brandon Miller.
Oh,
from Alabama.
Damn, I don't know why I couldn't think of his name.
So we put, the matchup came to me. Oh, you can play Brandon Miller. Well, give him to me because I know how good Brandon was. I said he gonna be a lottery pick. Give me him.
Mm-hmm.
So when they come to me with different matchups, I'm looking at to see, okay, I want to make sure we playing against the best, and we gonna take the best matchup possible.
So when you say when they bring them to you, who is the they bringing to you?
Well, all the promoters, basketball ain't nothing.
There go right there. There go right there. We back in that promoter world. We back in that promoter world. Okay. When they run over, okay, I got it. Okay, we back. So that shit do tie all in.
Oh, it's tying all in. Because guess what? Basketball tournaments got promoters too.
Okay.
So guess what? Now we can connect. And relate.
So you never too far out the game.
Oh no, never too far out the game.
Okay. So basically, showmanship. That is everything about all of that is encompassing of the entire basketball world.
Yeah. It's all go hand in hand. It's all, and they all talk my language. So
you ain't even lost.
Yeah, I ain't lost because if I didn't know the promoting world, I wouldn't know the language to talk when I'm on the phone with people.
So have you ran into anybody yet who has kind of like either an up and comer or just like a old head who need to get the fuck out? That's like that be trying to spin you on some shit. It's like,
one thing in the basketball world, they respect.
Okay.
They respect names.
Okay.
So every time, that's why I always get the matchup I get because they respect the history.
Right. So y'all got that. So the block. Now we back to the block again. Now we back to the block again. Like all this shit tie in. I don't know. Okay, I got you. Okay, I understand. Kenwood is becoming the city public champs pretty much in every sport. I just saw that the track team won. I mean, obviously you guys are still chasing, but I mean, y'all right on the doorstep. Football team is doing their thing. Talk about your principal, Ms. Karen Calloway, and how she supports and gives the athletic program that reign to do what they need to do and still keep it, on the up and up, if you will.
Well, Karen Calloway, Principal Calloway, she's been tremendous. I mean, I think for her to get to this spot everybody got to understand where she come from.
Okay.
She come from being a counselor. She come from being under Dr. Greg Jones, and then she was named right after him, who was a great principal.
Okay.
So being a counselor, that means she care for kids. So now when you in her school, she caring for these kids. Mm-hmm. She ain't just coming in here doing her job and leaving. She want to know who's your mother, who's your brother, what your grades look like. Are you getting your books done at home? What are you doing? If you got a C, how can we give it to a B? Because she come from that counselor world where you have to do that with every student in the school anyway. So by her being a principal and being able to recognize each student and know their first name and know their background and know what they're doing and know their grades and know their teachers, that goes a lot. That
makes your job easier.
Yeah, make the job easier, especially as a parent. My son go there. He's part of the track team. So, for him to, as a parent, to seeing that the principal cares, I love my son goes there because most of these principals don't care. They just come doing their job, picking up their check, going home, making sure the books is balanced, and we go home. But she's doing the opposite. Now, grades and education always been great at Kenwood. The sports has turned because I think parents want more.
Promoter. Promoter.
I mean,
but yes, like you said, but
anytime you get a Mike Irvin that can bring all his staff over, right,
and the players with it. Okay. But you did say parents want more. They want more for their children, especially parents who like myself who have children that play sports. Now, the parents who have children that go to Kenwood for the excellent academic part of it, I mean, that's one thing, but parents who decide to send their children there to play for Mike Irvin or even play for the coach who was there before then, I mean, they want an opportunity for their kid to play at the next level, whatever that level is.
Yeah. So they want the next level. So what we provide in Kenwood on all sports is we provide student athletes where you're going to get the best of the sports, and then also you're going to get the best of academics. So she did a great job of hiring between her and Dr. Jones. Some of the coaches still in place from he was there. So they did a great job at hiring to put it all together.
When you think about Mac Irvin, the AAU program, and then Kenwood, the up and coming basketball program. I shouldn't even say up and coming because I mean y'all right there, like
right. We arrived.
Oh yeah. I mean, you know, when you think about those two entities, what goes into your recruiting of players for those programs, and do they differ for each one?
They different because I recruit nonstop for the Fire. You know, for the Fire, you know, it's always putting together. Got to recruit. Kenwood, I sit back and then I take phone calls. People call me. I don't have to recruit at Kenwood, you know, and that's the great thing about Kenwood and what's there. And now I don't. I get phone calls and it's pretty much, you know, if they move in the neighborhood, can they fit into the system? You know, so that's the good thing about Kenwood. The Fire is different because you got to make sure that. You know, you stay with some of the top players in the program every year, and that's a little different. But we have, you know, I think this was probably one of our best years where we built with the Fire, where the 17U was pretty good, 16U was amazing, the 15U, you know, this is probably the first time in history we probably going to have in that 15U class 2026, probably 7 of the top 10 basketball players in the state. In the top 5, we covering.
Okay.
You know, we covering. They all in our program. So that just shows you that, you know, through the work that everybody's doing, not just myself, but through the work that everybody's doing in the program, that we're doing a good job.
What, respectfully asking, how has the recent lack of success with the Fire affected recruitment of the organization, if at all, if it's affected at all?
I think people got to understand before COVID hit, we had finished the 3rd best record in EYBL. Amari Bailey and what's the name was on our 16U. We was one of the best 16U programs in the country, one of the best 15Us. Then COVID hit. When COVID hit, we, like everybody else,
took a hit.
Our state was the last to open.
It was.
Our mayor didn't want
we all went to Indiana.
Everybody went to Indiana.
We did.
Our mayor didn't want basketball. So the suburbs even had basketball before the city did.
They
so
did.
The city, we couldn't do anything. We was at a standstill. So being at a standstill, parents had to come to a conclusion. What are we gonna do?
Right.
What are we going to do? We want our kids to play.
Right. And we're not going to stand still.
We ain't going to stand still. Chicago, the last city open, we didn't even have, one season we had 10 games. The other season, they didn't even know.
Yeah, it was like 12 or 13.
12 games, yeah. They didn't know if we was going to start the following season. Still going through it.
I remember.
Yeah, so it was a mess. So guess what? It was a mess. So we took a hit. You know, unlike other teams, we was built off city. We built off, all our teams was built off city. And then not only that, we had 2 of the top 5 players in the country on the team. I don't know if and actually 3 of the top 30.
I remember.
When you go Day Ames, Modest Bazilis, and JJ Taylor.
And JJ.
And JJ Taylor.
And then you had an up and coming Nook.
Then we had the up and coming Nook who was top 100. So we had 4 players that was dominant.
And then 3 left the state.
And 3 left the state. 3 left the state because it was the basketball was over everywhere. So of course that's going to take a hit with the program. But like anything else, like I said, I mean, at the end of the day, that's
where the promoter come in.
Yeah, this
that's
Chicago.
Where the promoter come in. Yeah.
Chicago, we breed basketball players. So if you think we took a hit from COVID, guess what? COVID over now. Now guess what's going to happen? Mac Irvin Fire is going to become the best again, and that's exactly what happened. You know, COVID is over. Ain't no more. Now everybody is on the same plan level now. Now everybody on the same plan. Let's see what's happening.
We back on the block now.
And now everybody, we back on the block, taking over the block. You know, so
during that time during COVID, when y'all was taking a hit, as was everyone else. Was there concern within the Irvin organization, within your family, and the people who are responsible for the organization that Nike and the EYBL were going to kind of kick y'all out of the?
No, never concerned because basketball don't stop. We from Chicago.
Okay,
Chicago is the mecca of basketball.
Okay,
so when you start talking about basketball, that was never a concern. The concern is when we just going to be able able to operate. That's all.
Okay.
So I mean,
so basically, it's not a surprise that the tables are turning.
no, we from this Chicago. The best players come from Chicago.
Okay.
I mean, that's what we was taught coming up. I mean, shit. Derrick Rose from Chicago, Tim Hardaway from Chicago, Antoine Walker from Chicago,
Isaiah Thomas,
Dwayne Wade. They're from Chicago.
Right.
Now, if we was in a small town, then we have a problem.
Okay.
But we're not in a small town. We're in a major city.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Which young player on Kenwood and on Mac Irvin, respectively, so whether it's the same player or two different players, are you most excited about coaching? Well, the AAU season is coming to an end, but as you're getting ready to, get ready for the new school year, like, who are you excited about?
Man, you know what? Had a kid by the name of Calvin Robbins Jr. I'm saying I have a kid.
Oh,
no. I have a kid.
Is that another exclusive?
No, I have a kid. No, I have a kid by the name of Calvin Robbins Jr.
Okay.
And I'm probably so excited to coach him. He's probably one of the best kids I ever coached ever. When you're talking about over a 4.0 some GPA, you're talking about a leader. You're talking about don't say nothing to coaches. Go do what he's supposed to do. Talk to the other players. I mean, probably the best overall kid. One of the best overall kids I done seen. We had a few others, and Alex Nebbits, Marty Nesbitt, Miles Reynolds, had some different kids in the program. But this kid is one kid that I'm gonna be excited to coach because he played one AAU tournament this year, and we won the whole thing at NY to LA. And we won that first tournament, went undefeated. He didn't lose a game the first 7 games he played. Didn't lose a game for us. And then he went down. He hurt his ankle. Then he was off and on. So now he'll be back 100% by the end of this month. But he didn't play AAU no more.
Right.
So for a kid that and he's coming from Made All City. Made all one of the best returning players I had. Looking forward to him to playing this AAU season, and it didn't happen. So the college recruiters couldn't even see Calvin Robbins this year. So that's one kid I'm anxious for them to see because I think he's one of the best players in the country, a top 100 kid. But he's a nice kid.
He is a nice kid. And shout out to him and his family. Him and Xavier speak pretty frequently via social media. I always like to shout out the kids who kind of show my son specifically just the love as an outsider. And Calvin has been one of them kids. Him and Zay has a pretty unique relationship. So shout out to them. And he's a very respectful kid. Yeah. Whenever I see him, and I speak to him, whether it's I initiate it or he initiates, he's always he's very mild-mannered. He's very just a great kid. Like, I don't like to label our black children because it makes them seem like all other black children are just ruts. But his mother and father are doing a great job with that young man. So shout out to Calvin.
Yes.
Talk about the rivalry with the coaches from Whitney Young and Simeon and just other city schools, if there is one.
I don't consider any rivalries just yet.
Okay.
But I consider it all competition right now.
Okay.
Rivalries, I need another couple years to kind of see because you might have some guys in and out. Rob Smith, Simeon, he was over at Simeon, but he's gone now. He retired.
Right.
I would have loved to keep matching up with Rob, but he retired. He, like I said, he done a great job at Simeon. Over at Whitney Young, Coach Slaughter. He done a good job over there where he's at Whitney Young, but I don't. Far as this year, I don't think I don't think they're gonna be in our way at all this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they ain't gonna be in our way at all this year.
All right. So when you think about your current coaching experience, aside from when you were with your brother Nick over at Morgan Park, right now you're literally chasing your first. Right. Your first city championship and your first state. As a head coach.
Yeah, as a head coach.
Yeah. So kind of just talk about how tough that is, number one. And then also when, people kind of see you like, you doing your thing and it's like, my man, he ain't win shit yet. Like, what's happening over there? Right. Like, kind of talk about that a little bit.
You know what? I explain this to everybody. And even when I, got over to Kenwood, it's levels to this shit, man. It's levels. It's levels to everything.
Right.
And you can't, it's like Michael Jordan. You can't win a championship without getting, going through Detroit, going through, the Celtics,
Lakers.
going through the Lakers.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
So in my second year, I'm moving and grooving. I'm ahead of time. I'm ahead of time schedule out here because I'm like, okay, I done shook up the city already. Now I got everybody. Oh yeah, Kenwood, what has he done? I've been there for 2 years. I ain't been here for 10. I've been there for 2.
And that's crazy that you say that because it do seem longer.
Yeah,
but you got motherfuckers on pins and needles.
I want them to think that. I want them to think that. So that's what I want people to think. They seem like I've been there for I've been there for
2 years.
And I created.
And y'all talking about me in 2 years.
Y'all talk about me in 2 years.
This is my block.
Man, it's my block. So it's all going according to plan. It's all going according to plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all going. So
right.
and I know it's levels. So in reality it's levels. We got to, we gonna have to win a conference championship first. We done that. We won a conference championship. Then we talking about, we did that this year. So then you talk about, okay, you want to win a championship first, you got to be ranked number 1. We finally did that for the first time in school history last year for a few weeks out the season. So then now I told them, no, you got to be preseason number 1. It's levels,
Okay.
Before you can do all this stuff. So we just going through every level of it, and we'll get there.
And you enjoying all that shit, ain't you?
I'm enjoying every minute of it.
You promoting. All this shit ties in, man. All right, we cool with that. When you, from an outsider who comes in and sees some of the disparities with the culture of basketball, and when you think about Chicago, you think about the segregation, like everybody living in different places. That's kind of where the culture of basketball is here now. I'm an outsider, and I'm saying with a lot of confidence, with no disrespect to nobody, is segregation in y'all basketball ranks.
Yes.
How do we get that back?
Segregation is definitely segregation in the ranks. How do we get it back? I mean, you can't stop people from being who they are. I know who I am.
Okay.
I know I'm cool with everybody. I want everybody to win. That's just the way I am.
Just not against you.
Yeah, just not against me.
Okay.
But I want everybody to win. If you talk to every coach, if we lose a game, I tell them congratulations. Right. I tell them good job. I if the kids don't play for me, AAU, I'm still trying to help in college. Right. Can I get on the phone? Right. What can I do?
Okay.
So that's just how I am. But I don't know how everybody else is. But I want everybody to win, especially we're African American in this business where, man, it ain't too many of us want us to succeed. So I want everybody to succeed. Like everybody, in this world, everybody look for downfalls with everybody, but I don't do that. And I hope everybody else would see the same.
How serious do you take head coaching as a whole? And when I'm asking that question from, do you do clinics? Do you go to seminars? Do you do things to improve and enhance your mind as a high school basketball coach?
Yes. As a high school basketball coach, I'm constantly learning. If I got to go to a practice down at Illinois, go to practice where, Coach Shen come from our program, and now the top guy over at Kentucky. Okay. If I got to get on the phone, talk to Bobby Hurley about plays, if I got to talk to the coach at Kansas State, about this and that, what I see, Coach Izzo, like I do that all the time. I'm constantly learning, So me, I'm constantly learning because I want our kids to have the best. Okay. Even though we in a situation where, we don't get paid for this. We don't, we sacrifice our time, we sacrifice our money. We doing everything, and you saying what they pay us really at CPS and being a high school coach. I mean, but me, I'm successful in a lot of other things I do. So no matter what, I'm gonna put my time in. So I put my time in as far as coaching so I can give back to the kids. Because my goal is every kid go to college. So I have to get them prepared for college. So I got to control the practice and practice like we in college. I got to work out, run like we in college. I got to make sure they eating right properly, pregame meals, all that stuff like we in college. So our program over at Kenwood, we preparing you for college. So everybody on our staff familiar with, they have to go down to college and see the practices. Everybody on my staff, so they have to see all that so they can bring it back and instill it in our kids so they understand what they're getting into.
So you're essentially not just preparing the kids for college, but you're preparing your staff for potentially college as well.
Yeah.
Or another opportunity.
Or another opportunity, because our staff, I want them to go to college. When you look at my little brother who quickly moved up quickly and now he's at Arizona State, you look at Chin Coleman, what he's done, from Illinois. Now he's at Kentucky. He was just coaching our 15U team, So when you look at that and you say, okay, man, it can happen.
They was ready.
Yeah, so I want to prepare everybody to keep moving up. And then even the ones I helped to get jobs that's not even from our actual program, to be able to do something. Big shout out to also Will Bailey, who's over at Loyola now.
Okay.
He played with me on our Illinois team coming up at AU. Now he's at Loyola, not just moved over there. So that's the thing. Like we want everybody to win.
Right.
So all these college coaches, you from Chicago, if I need to make a phone call, if I need to help, whatever I need to do, man, open up our doors to come recruit everybody, that's fine. But I want our Chicago people to win.
All the time. We had Coach Barry Bradford up here from Example Academy, and he spoke about how a lot of times when he knows either a college coach is coming or he's going to be at an event where college coaches are, he kind of gives them a heads up about his players, the pros and cons, the strengths and the weaknesses. Do you do that as well for your players?
Yeah, I know what they're looking for.
Right.
I've been doing this over 25 years.
Okay.
So I know what they're looking for.
Okay.
If I got to tell my guys who's athletic and get up, man, you better swing on the rim and you better dunk on somebody. If you want to get yourself seen, that's what you have to do. If I tell my point guards, you got to pick up 94 feet and you got to turn the guy 3 or 4 times before you get to half court. That's what the colleges want to see. They don't. This is, so I have a lot of things in my arsenal, in my playbook. I know what they want to see. So any kid from our program, you always going to hear offers, always going to hear recruited, because I know what they're looking for. I'm giving them the little things to do so they can get looked at.
When you have your open practices for college coaches, and you're at events with them, Barry also spoke about how he will sometimes, unless y'all are at, say, like the EYBLs, but when y'all at other events, do you sometimes cater your plays and the time that these players are on the floor to basically be seen? So you got a college coach and he's like, oh, I see, such and so. All right, I'm gonna run a play specifically for, well, you ain't got to run plays for Day because Day going Day.
Right.
Day going Day.
Right.
I mean, but like somebody maybe Mr. or another
well,
one.
That's why it comes back to the practice we run, our college practice.
Okay.
So now, we get in front of the college coaches. It's ABC. Much. It's all matter. So if I run my play, they coming off screen so I can show my shooter coming off screen. We already done this 1,000 times. And we already running it anyway.
Right.
So it's easy for me to get in front of college coach and just run what we run, because we run in college offense anyway. So I know, and me being a point guard in this game, I know how to get every play off. There's no play I can't get off.
Okay.
So if I want you to score 60, you're gonna score 60.
You're gonna score 60.
Yeah. If I want you to get 20 assists, you're gonna get 20.
Okay.
I know how to put that together.
Okay. Just kind of going back just a little bit, speaking about your father, what drove him to be the basketball legend of Chicago that he became?
Just who he is, his heart.
Okay.
His heart did that. Because when you reaching out, want to help people, and you want to help people to send them to college, you got to have it in your heart, So his heart did that. His connections did that, and he was being able to do it at a high level,
Okay.
Tell you a story about Tim Hardaway. When Tim Hardaway, my father, they took a lot of kids down to the Nike camp, and only so many can go at that time.
Right.
So Tim Hardaway couldn't go at that time. So at that time, he ran into a coach by the name of Tim Floyd down at UTEP. And he told him the best player not even here. He said, who is that, Mac? He said, man, Tim Hardaway. This a kid you have to see. He's not. Trust me. No guard from New York. All these guys from New York, y'all say it's good. The East Coast guards, I got one that's better than all of them, and his name is Tim Hardaway. You know, and he'll tell that story to this day. And he went to go see Tim. His history took him at UTEP,
and the rest is history. Yeah.
Tim. You know, Tim was one of the best. You know, so it started like that, and then them conversations was had with hundreds of kids that, you know, went on and played college and got scholarships. So you got to have it in your heart, but you got to have connections too.
Okay. Shout out to your father. May he rest in peace. Do you think that the black father is misunderstood in college coaches' eyes?
Misunderstood? They crazy. The parents of the world.
Damn, right?
No, I'm just playing.
Damn.
I'm messing with you.
Sheesh.
No, I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
It's all good. Go ahead. Speak on that.
And we gonna say a small percentage, you know.
Okay.
Because now what's happening now is
they live with these kids.
It's happening now is if you go back 20 years ago, it'll be, you know, the fathers a kind of, you know.
They living through their kids.
Yeah, they living through their kids.
I mean, say that shit.
Yeah, they living through
their
their
shit.
kids.
They living through their kids.
They living through their kids, man. And why they living through their kids, I have no idea. Because I don't want to live through my son. My son can be the best track player, can be breaking records. Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna cheer for him, and I'm gonna hope he do the best. And I'm gonna pass him his lemon water when he get there.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah. So I mean, but now it's like, since, you know, it's like. This is me. I want the player. I want to be him. I want to do everything.
Listen,
you know.
I've said this many times before. This may be your first time hearing it. I don't want to be Xavier, and not only do I not want to be him, he was better than me. Xavier now is a way better basketball player than I ever was. Right? He wouldn't have been able to beat me because I was smarter and I was tougher. Skill-wise, he would bust my ass.
And you probably the only father gonna say that.
He would bust my ass.
You probably gonna. Honestly, these fathers think they better than the player.
Nah,
they think they just didn't have the opportunity.
Now put me on the football field, I will wax his ass.
Right.
But basketball-wise,
right.
I can't fuck with that boy.
See,
but I'll play him. I'll play him because I'm not no bitch ass nigga. Like,
exactly.
I'll play him.
Tough. Yeah.
But Xavier at 18 and Mustafa at 18,
right?
It would have been the right. I would have probably. It would have been a close game, and he would have won. But if I won, it would only be because I was tougher and smarter.
See, you one of few would say that. Parents ain't gonna say that.
Nah.
They want their son to believe they was better than them back then, and they should have probably made.
Bro,
it.
I wasn't
and they
even
know more
from a basketball standpoint. I wasn't sniffing fucking college. Now football, I had a few opportunities and shit, but basketball, my basketball coach Jerry Wilson. I went to a military school. He couldn't stand me, and I really couldn't stand his ass. But I was a team player. Like I knew my role, but.
So let me ask you a question, right? And it's a question to you, right? You saying basketball wise, you weren't sniffing that. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you. So if basketball wise, and you're the parent, and you didn't get to that level and play at that level, how much could you really teach him?
I can only to answer your question immediately. I couldn't teach him shit. Because I don't have the experience that he has. But what I can teach him is I could teach him how to treat people. I could teach him how to present himself. I could teach him how to talk to people.
That's what's missing in today's basketball.
They
don't want to teach that part.
Oh no,
they don't want to do that part. They concerned about the player. You know, you're concerned about who he is.
I want Xavier to represent himself out, which in retrospect is representing our family. And yes. I don't just mean my wife and his brother. I also mean my mother and father. I mean my wife's mother and father, and the legacy right of our family. So I'm teaching. I can show Xavier how to shoot a jump shot, but my jumper wasn't wet.
Right.
I couldn't. Right. I'm 40 fucking 4. The only court I dunked on was a fucking 7-foot court in school. I couldn't jump. Right. I couldn't do all that. I was a little athletic, but it was more football. So I couldn't teach him that shit, but I can teach Xavier. I've been teaching Xavier how to be a man, what to expect from the world.
Yes.
If you treat people this way, they should treat you that way.
Yes.
And if they don't, then you remove those people.
Right.
That's what I can teach him. As far as basketball go,
and that's not happening to the.
I teach him I teach him the basics of what I know, and then I rely on people who do know
and their expertise.
But I only allow certain people in that realm. Now, if I trust you and I trust that you know what you're doing, then teach my son all the shit I want every fucking thing you know taught to him.
Coachable.
Yeah, everything.
And it's not happening. This day and age, they want to. Everybody want to be the player. Everybody want to be the agent. Everybody want to be. They want to be everything. I want to dictate whatever you move you do on the court with 2 minutes to go in the game. I want you to. It's me telling you what to do. It's like I got the joystick.
No.
And I wouldn't.
So if I'm being fair, so using that analogy just now, my joystick or my telling you what to do with 2 minutes left on the floor, it's why the fuck you standing there? Right. Why you not defending?
Right.
Why you look like you so disengaged?
Right.
Why you take that shot? That was a dumbass shot.
Exactly.
Why you not rebounding?
Right.
Why you not? When I used to coach Xavier, in the small, minuscule knowledge I had of coaching, he was my best rebounder. He ended up becoming, in my opinion, and I love that boy, he became one of probably the worst rebounding guards I've ever seen.
Wow.
But it was more effort.
But you coached him, so you had, when you actually was the coach, you had the right to tell him whatever you wanted at that time.
It got to a point, and my wife was pissed at me. It got to a point when I coached Xavier that one time I made him go sit over there with your fucking mother.
Right.
In the middle of a fucking game.
Right, in the middle of the game. Go sit with your mom.
We was at the Matson Rec. I subbed him out. Sit right here. He came pouting. Oh, no. Go sit over there with your fucking mother. I don't even want to fucking look at you. And as a matter of fact, ask him about this shit. When we played, I had the group of the kids playing in the Matson Pro-Am, right? One of the last games. Now, Zay now, he's, 17, 18. He at that age now. That I'm waiting on it, right? Yeah. And I'm waiting. In the middle of a game, we losing, right? But we close. And it's like, I don't want your effort to change. He shot some shit. And I subbed him out, and he swelled up a little bit. Oh, you got me fucked up. Don't let this basketball friendly shit that we got going on.
Don't let this fool.
Don't get embarrassed out here, boy. I'm not wired all the way.
Yeah.
I'll break your shit, man. Stop playing with me. But I love that boy. I love that boy. But
y'all had a moment.
We had a moment. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to this basketball thing, like most parents, I want what he earns. Don't give Xavier. When we went on these recruiting trips, I told coaches, when we had these open men conversations, I want him to work for his shit. If he, can earn it, give it to him.
Yeah.
Because in my house, me and my wife, if Xavier earns it, we give it to him. So he's coming with that expectation of, if I earn something, it should be given to me.
Right.
And that's what I believe with children. If they earn something, if they earn the right to do, if they earn the right to say, let them. And that's how I'm raising my son, and I'm unapologetic about that. I'm not going to apologize to any coach he's dealt with to anybody, and that includes the motherfucking coaches over at Marist made me mad as shit, man. I ain't even going. We gonna keep going. We ain't got that much more time, and I gotta jump on the motherfucking road. But we talked about the one. If I could put his ass in the motherfucking headlock.
Is he still over there?
Nah, he left. Any fucking way. Going into the new season, Bo gets a kick out of my rants and shit.
But the last advice I want to give to parents, though, honestly, let the experts handle it. If somebody had expertise in a certain field, I only want the best handling my kids if they got expertise. And I tell people this all the time. If you need surgery, I'm trying to find the best doctor. I don't want just somebody who never operated before.
Who can talk about the operation? I want you to be able to do that shit.
I want you to be able to do it. Right. So go to the best. You know, that's all.
If I could speak on that just a little bit, and if I just smallly speak for parents, I think sometimes, and I agree with you for the record. Right. I think sometimes parents, they get very worried when it seems like their child is on a certain trajectory or a certain path, and then all of a sudden they're just kind of like moved to the side. And so, or moving, not even to the side, they just completely moved out of the way. And so now with no conversation, like for me, I'm always open to having that conversation. Like, all right, so like one of the reasons why we left the Wolves, and this is the first time I'm actually speaking on this, okay. Right? And I want to be crystal clear. I have no ill will to the Wolves organization. I don't know Mike well enough to even speak badly or goodly about him, but the other coaches that I do. Right. We left the Wolves because there was no conversation on the path that they was taking. Now, did they have to give me one? I guess not, because they fucking didn't. Right. But the experience that we had was great up until that first junior year live period. Xavier and a couple of the top players that they had over there at the time, Cam and Asa, they were playing really well, and Xavier was in that top 3 to 4 of the rotation and players and all that. Right. So going into July, I'm thinking like, yeah, this gonna be it. It's gonna be it. We gonna go down to Atlanta. I have family down there. Like, okay, we gonna be ready. We got down there, and every game, which may be a total of maybe 6 to 8 games, Zay played a total of 16 minutes.
Wow.
And internally, as you can imagine, I was burning the fuck up. Yeah. I didn't say nothing. I didn't cause no scene. I didn't, hoot and holler and all that other shit. But I was fucking tight. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So much so that Cam's parents, Max Sr. and his mother, Miss Christine, I think is her name, and some of the other parents, like, kind of, not only did they pull me to the side to kind of like, yo, I know this is kind of whatever, but I learned something about my child. And Xavier was probably the best teammate I had ever seen him be in his entire basketball career, which did, from seeing that, it eased my shit. Yeah. Because I'm bro, I was on fire down that motherfucker.
Well, and I will tell you this, you at some point in everybody's career, they're gonna have to be the best teammate. You got to be the best player. It's all learning. You got to learn every situation.
And he definitely taught me something. So what happened when we got back to Chicago, and Zay he's a loyal kid. It's in us as a Philadelphia. He wanted to keep on that ride, and I just couldn't, in good faith, allow him, coming from April and a little bit of May as one of the top 3 to 4 players, to now he's not being given just an opportunity.
Yeah,
I just couldn't do it, and I did the opposite of what they did to me. They didn't have that conversation with me, but as soon as we got back, after we sat down, I called Coach Tony, shout out to Coach Tony, and Coach Long, shout out to Coach Long, and let them know I'm disappointed. Respectfully speaking, I'm disappointed in not being told what was going on. I'm disappointed in how y'all kind of treated him a little bit, and we were here for years. A conversation, y'all could have at least had the conversation with me.
See, and I think that's where we differ from most programs. And once you said one thing about the Fire, we may have some ups and downs, and it was caused with COVID. But when nobody said during COVID, we had 9 kids go Division I during that COVID year when we had a down year. 9 kids.
So they busy talking about getting y'all out of EYBL, but nobody talking about that.
Nobody talking about the real statistic. And that's what it's about. We're about the kids. So when you say your son didn't play, we're not doing that. We're trying to get these kids who with us as much exposure, who's on that, and we're trying to get them all scholarships. So that's one thing that my father has put into this program that we remain true to.
Man, all right, we'll be here talking for hours. I want to get these last few questions in. All right, you played you play high school ball and you played college ball.
Yes.
Coach Mike Irvin, scout Mike Irvin, the player.
The player. If I was, and you probably hear this with a lot of people. If I had the height my brothers had, I'd probably been in top 3 pick in a draft if I had the heights my brother had. I was the smallest, shortest out of our family. You know, everybody else taller. Byron 6'6", Mac 6'6", Lance 6'2", Nick taller. You know, if I had that with my game, because I was athletic, I had like a 40-inch vertical, and I can pass the ball, and I can dance with the basketball.
We're not even having this conversation because you in NBA training camp somewhere.
Yeah, because I could do a lot of things, and I was at the point, my father, you know, my game was built off me getting taller, you know, because you look at all my brothers.
You was like, where my motherfucking growth spurt at? Dang, my shit late.
Because Mac hit his growth spurt in high school. He went from 5'9" to 6'5". In high school.
Damn.
So he hit his growth spurt. So everybody was like, okay, you know, Mike gonna hit his growth spurt. So my game was
that shit never came.
Yeah. And I still had success, you know, but
I got a friend very similar to that. My man Tyrese, same thing. One of the best point guards coming out of Philadelphia. He, you know, and if he was a little bit taller.
Yeah.
You know, I always tell my wife and Xavier, as far as football goes, if I ain't break my foot and my shit was a little bit better, y'all punk asses would have never known me.
They never know. Exactly.
I'd have probably been with a white woman. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. But we already know who my boo is. Hi, Elizabeth Cambridge. That's my baby. How difficult is it coaching high level players?
It's easy to me because I've done it for so long.
Okay.
You know? At that part, I can coach high-level players in my sleep. I can coach 10 Division I players in my sleep and have them all be successful because I've done it for so long. So it ain't nothing having been and seen or nothing. So coaching at the high level, players at the high level, I know how to, you know, hit the right button. I know what the ups and downs are with them. So it's easy for me at this point.
Okay. When you played, who was your toughest player to guard in high school, and who was your toughest player to guard in college?
When I played, Chicago, you just got to come back to Chicago. I didn't have no problem guarding anybody in high school. I mean, you know, I was known as a lockdown defender. You know, so I could guard anybody anywhere. You know, I had to guard my brothers. So that was one.
That was the toughest part.
That was one thing to my game. You know, I could lock down anybody. Far as you know, playing. It's just playing over LeClaire Court, playing against all them top players that come out of there, you know, from Tim Hardaway to man, it was whoever came through. Everybody came through there. But me and Steph Marbury, he was tough because when he came to Chicago and he lived with us when he was in Chicago and he stayed with us for a long period of time. Steph was one who, you know, the battles with him was kind of, you know, different. Yeah, it was a little different because he was, you know, 6'3", strong.
Stocky. Yeah, he was
athletic. Yeah. So that
should have been a bodybuilder.
Yeah, that was one going head to head.
Okay.
1-on-1 was a little different.
All right, who was barbecue chicken? Who you get buckets to in high school? Name them. I want a name.
I want to get the buckets type. I'm the one that it.
But you, I mean, you could score.
Yeah, I can score, but I was a pure point guard. Why you think everybody loved me? Because I knew how to set up everybody. Okay. That's why one of my best friends is Sean Marion. You know why? Because when Sean was coming out of high school and we used to play open gym, shit, I could throw Sean alley-oops from half court. So Sean, he loved that about me.
Okay.
Antoine Walker loved that because when we played, I knew how to give him the basketball.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, last 3 questions. Name your all-time NBA team, starter and 6-man.
All-time NBA?
Yeah.
From Chicago or just NBA?
It's your list. You can name who you want.
All-time NBA. Yeah, you got to go with Isaiah Thomas.
Okay.
Got to go with Michael Jordan.
Of course, you wouldn't be able to live if you could.
Yeah, got to go with Michael Jordan. Got to go with LeBron. Got to go with man, gotta go. Shaq. Shaq was unstoppable. Shaq, you just couldn't stop Shaq. And then 5 and 6, I gotta go with the A show. Antoine Walker. Antoine Walker in his prime. Nobody wanted to see him, and to this day, Kevin Durant say Antoine Walker was the player he looked up to. Antoine was just, shit in his prime. Could nobody stop Antoine? Antoine was 6'9", do it all. And then I'm going to go to the last one and change the game. People don't give him the respect he need to get, but he changed the whole game. Sean Marion changed the game what it is today. He was that 6'7" kid that can play 5 different positions. He the reason why it ain't no more centers. Because when Phoenix came along and they was playing that run and gun offense, he was able to do it and averaging a double-double and go small ball. So he the one that really started the small ball, and he need to get into that Hall of Fame one day because he's right there knocking at the door, and they need to let him in.
Okay, so you got your 5 and the 6.
Yeah.
All right, put them against you, Lance, Nick, Matt. Who win that game? Who win that game? Who win that game?
And they prime before injury. Shit, I'm going with us. I'm going with Irving. Who gonna stop Byron and Mac? Nobody.
Okay, fair enough. All right, my starters is AI, Kobe, of course, Jordan, LeBron, Hakeem, and my 6th man is Jamal Crawford.
That's tough. That's tough. I like
it.
All
right. So last 2 questions. And it's a kind of a 2-part question. One for you to your children and one for you to your mother and father. All right. So I'm Muslim, and in Islam we believe that our children pick us as parents.
Okay.
All right. So hearing that, what does it mean knowing that your children pick you as their parent, and just kind of speak on the fact that you picked your mother and father as a parent for you?
I picked my mom and dad as a parent for me, and I'm saying what was good about picking them, or what it's good about picking them because coming up having a mom and dad in the household was rare. It was rare.
It still is.
It is rare, So, and I had the best, like I said, they taught us on and off the court, and they prepared us for game of life, and I think a lot of parents right now is not preparing these kids for a game of life, now they just not doing it. So I love what my parents has done. They taught all of us how to succeed without playing. I'm succeeding without playing the game in the NBA, and a lot of people, they prepared me for this. I think same thing to my son and my daughter, and they probably happy that I'm parents. Sometimes they probably mad because I'm trying to prepare Haley and Isaiah for the game of life. I'm on my son every day about track. He's on the Kenwood track team. He's running for nationals next week down in Oregon, and I'm on him every day. If you want to be the best, you got to run 3 times. You got to get up morning, noon, and night. And
people don't realize what goes into being a high level athlete. Yeah, they say they want that shit. No. They not eating right. They not training right, and they not sleeping right.
Yeah, you got to want it. So, he probably one of the best track runners out here. So, I think as a parent, and I'm going to give them all what they need.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Last question is, we ask everybody up here to give themselves a future message, speaking in third person. So I want you to give yourself a future message, whatever that may be, and speak in third person, like, Mike, and then give yourself a nice little message.
Speaking in future, Mike, continue your success, continue helping out these kids, the bigger pictures, helping out kids, helping our community, continue to help our community, continue to put kids in better places, because if I don't do it, I don't know who else going to take the time to do it, because it's a hard job. And just keep making it easy and fun so you can continue, the path you on. So, because if it's fun, you're going to continue to do it.
You're going to keep doing it.
You're going to keep doing it.
It's not work when it's fun.
It's not work when it's fun. So right now, just continue to make it fun, laugh, joke, make it fun, and just continue on that path of doing great things.
Well, I do want to definitely say I came into this interview with no expectation. When Smooth had reached out, we ran into him, and he was like, "Man, Mike." And I'm like, I told him straight, I was like, "I don't think Mike really fuck with me. I don't really know if he's gonna come on the show." Did I not say that? I'm like, "Oh," he's like, "No." Like, I'm like, okay, all right, if you say that. So I want to be truthful. I want to speak in my truth and say that, but I also want to really genuinely thank you for taking it. First of all, I know you're a busy man, running the Mac Irvin organization, for Kenwood and just in general with your family. Yeah. I do want to thank you for taking an opportunity, taking the time to come on our platform and just speak to us and giving me an opportunity to change whatever perception I had of you as a man and as a coach. Like, I really enjoy talking to you. Like, I knew that I would. My guy Anthony Haley told me, he's like, yo, Moo, you're not gonna realize he just like your ass. Like, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And now it's like, yeah, he actually is. So I really appreciate that. Thank you for taking the time out.
Appreciate you having me on Exposure. Definitely, man. Anything you're doing to shed light on the basketball scene here in Chicago. Even though you from Philly, I did my background. You know,
hey, there we go.
I did
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I did my
obviously the report came back good.
I don't know what I'm walking into. But, you know, I know Smooth ain't gonna let me walk into a trap.
Yeah.
But I did my background knowing that you done good things. And your son, always been a big fan of his game, you know.
Appreciate that.
So, yeah,
that actually really means a lot to me. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And just for the record, if they did play in that Oklahoma game, that shit would have went differently. Fuck is you talking about? No, we'll see y'all on the next episode, man. Thank y'all for stopping through.
All right.